Let's pick out the differences head on between a rye bourbon and a wheated bourbon. And a great way to do that would be to compare two expressions from the same distillery at the same proof, but just isolating the one grain, even though the mash bills may be a little different. We're going to compare Buffalo Trace kosher rye recipe with Buffalo Trace kosher wheat recipe. And as you may know, this line, the kosher rye recipe, is the same mash bill number one. The low rye mash bill makes Buffalo Trace, E.H. Taylor, Stagg, and a bunch of others. And this is the wheat recipe, which of course makes the Wellers and Pappy Van Winkle, etc. I know in the past when I've compared these like this, in my head I kind of thought I liked the rye recipe better. I love wheated bourbons, but this particular one specifically is not one of my favorite wheated bourbons. There are other wheated bourbons I like better. It kind of makes sense because when I did blind Weller 107 against other wheated bourbons, and those most of the others came out on top too. But we're just going to go head on here. Now the way it is Buffalo Trace does not disclose its mash bill, but what I've done enough research to kind of figure that the rye recipe is probably under 10% rye, and a very high percentage of corn. Whereas this, it's not literally where the corn's the same, the malted barley's the same, and they just literally swap the same percentage of the secondary grain, rye or wheat. From what I understand, with the wheated bourbon, the percentage is maybe a little bit higher than the rye is in here. I've seen anything from 16, 20%, something like that. There's no way to know because Buffalo Trace keeps it a secret, which I prefer they didn't. But in any event, I wanted to just take these two head on. They're both 94 proof, and just not doing this blind, just to kind of see straight out what the differences are. We know what they're supposed to be. Rye's a little spicier, wheat a little softer. But let's do this just the rye bourbon first. This is the kosher rye recipe. Cheers. And you do get that rye spice; it's very noticeable. Tastes very similar to the Buffalo Trace flagship, although a lot of times I thought this was just a shade better. These are both around $54 in New Jersey. And now the wheat recipe. Cheers. Right. So it is softer. You don't have that punch of rye in the middle there. One more time. Rye. Rye recipe. There's a third one, which is an actual straight rye. This is not that. Both of these are bourbons because they have 51% or more of corn, and probably significantly more than that. And rye, secondary grain, wheat is a secondary grain. Both have malted barley. So where was I? Okay, rye one more time. Rye recipe. I think I did that last time. There's the spice, rye spice, wheat, softer. And again, right now the same result for these two comparisons. I like the rye recipe a little bit better, and it kind of makes sense based on other blinds I've done. I don't know what it is. The wheat recipe's nice, but compared to other wheated bourbons out there, and I'll just stick to this for now. I don't want to pick on the Weller, but that didn't win every blind I did either. I just like other wheated bourbons better. So for me, now, obviously, same mash bill as a Pappy Van Winkle. I'm pretty confident that that will taste a lot better. There's a whole bunch of different factors. You can have the same mash bill, different aging processes, different rick houses, barrels, etc. So for this, I'd say I would go with the Buffalo Trace kosher rye recipe, but it truly is a good way to compare it. A little more spice here, a little softer here. Classic differences between these two types of bourbons: rye bourbon, wheated bourbon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.